My name is Travis Wayne Goodsell. I normally do videos about the LDS Church as an LDS critic. So please understand that this is not my typical video. You are not intended as my typical audience unless you're already a subscriber and you're just checking out this video to see how it relates to the LDS Church. And it does, but I don't know if I'll be talking about it. Please understand, I do not tolerate bullies. If you're going to troll me, if you're going to speak abuse and hatred, I will ban you from the channel. Your comments will not be posted. I hold all my comments to make sure that people are appropriate in their language. And you'll also notice that I do not allow you to put thumbs down on my videos. Neither thumbs up, for that matter, but that it's inappropriate for a social video context. And so, with that said, remember Kim Jong-un. Remember when he rode on his white horse up into the mountains of North Korea and then said he had a Christmas gift for America, and that we now have the coronavirus. Corona means crown. Many of you probably are Bible-fearing people, and you are well aware of the book of Revelation and the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Allow me to read from chapter 6. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering to conquer. And so the second beast, or second seal with the second beast, was on the second horse, which was the red horse, and that's everybody going around killing each other around the world. Peace is gone. The third beast is the black horse with the scales of judgment, where people are struggling financially. A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. So the economy collapses. And the 4th seal, 4th beast, 4th horse is the pale horse, and that was death, and hell followed him, to kill with the sword, with hunger, with death, and with the beasts of the earth. 4 beasts, 4 horsemen, 4 kings. How then could North Korea be involved if coronavirus started in China, where the president declared himself emperor for life, and then went after Hong Kong to try to subjugate Hong Kong to his social control with the camera systems, with the facial recognition? And how did America become the #1 center for coronavirus when it started in China, and then Italy became second? How? And how are the others involved? Well, I just got back from my run. That's why I'm having breathing, and that's why I'm a little wet, because it's raining here in Utah. It all started with our 2016 election. Remember when Trump supporters were chanting, "I'd rather be Russian than have a Democrat as president. Seriously? You'd rather destroy America by subjugating us to Russia? Well, who planted that in your minds? Russia did. That was Russian propaganda that put it into your minds during the election, and you guys who voted for Trump fell for it. You got brainwashed. And so Trump became our puppet president of Putin. So master of puppets are pulling your strings, twisting your mind as fast as your dreams. Metallica, from their '86 album, along with Leper Messiah. Messiah is the Hebrew word for Christ in Greek. It means anointed one. Kings are the anointed ones. And so as much as you are Bible-fearing people and believe that there has only been one Christ on all the earth throughout all of history, despite being the fact that Jesus claims to have been the one to restore the kingdom of David. If you remember your book of Matthew, and his sign on the cross, that here lies the king, here hangs the king of the Jews. That's what they were referring to, was him as being the descendant and the restorer of the kingdom of David. And they murdered him so that he failed to restore the kingdom of David. Here we have the four horsemen of the apocalypse, the four kings who are destroying the earth to destroy the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. As Trump declared, I am the chosen one. So we know Kim Jong-un believes he's the white horse beast, and Trump declared himself as one of these beasts, as he is the beast of Revelation chapter 13, the MAGA hat on the foreheads, the sign of the beast in the forehead, speaking blasphemies on TV, his image. And thus you see beast with kings. And so you have two horses down. Coronavirus starts in China. President Xi, is it? President Xi? He's the third horse. Putin, the fourth. Those are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. They've declared themselves as such. Putin is often shown in videos riding his horse out in the Russian countryside. The four horsemen. The one that did the killing, the initial killing, that they should kill one another, have given a great sword. That is the coronavirus. That is China, the Chinese president. And so the economic collapse, that's Trump. He crashed the economy of America, which affected the world. And then the pale horse would be Putin. Death and hell. Putin, his favorite weapon of choice is biological and chemical warfare. Coronavirus was therefore manufactured by China, and they got the South Korean evangelical group that is obsessed with the book of Revelation to go into that city in China to get them contracted with the virus, and then have them purposely sent throughout all the world, to fly throughout all the world and infect the world with the virus, knowing that they have it. knowing that they were fulfilling biblical prophecy from the book of Revelations that they were preaching. And their 200,000 followers were all a part of this. And so Trump, how did it get to America? Trump shut down borders, and it's because Japan held the cruise ship at their port and refused to let it go. It was Trump who stepped in and said, we're bringing our Americans home. And he sent people who were untrained, unskilled, unprepared, and unprotected to go test the people on the ship, the Americans, with coronavirus. Those people got infected and then went home to their various places around the United States and infected everybody in their communities, and that spread. Trump was refusing to hand over the necessary medical equipment to test and to treat with the respirators. Trump is a germaphobe. He doesn't want people touching him. He doesn't want to shake people's hands. Now all of a sudden the coronavirus comes out. It's the perfect opportunity for him to justify people staying away from him and not shaking his hand. Because remember, he kicked out Mick Mulvaney from the Oval Office while he was being interviewed by the ABC reporter. You know, the interview where Trump said, I don't mind if Russia, or anybody else for that matter, interferes in our election. You can hear somebody coughing, and Trump then says, get him out of here. He messed up. Do this over. Do the takeover. ABC didn't do the takeover. Well, they did, but they showed that clip, that scene. And so Trump does not like people with diseases. He does not like shaking people's hands. He does not like germs at all. And yet, now with coronavirus, he says it's going to be cured. It's going to disappear. 15 will go to 0. It's a hoax. He's shaking people's hands. He's standing next to people. He's not doing his rallies where he's all by himself. He's with a whole bunch of people behind him from the CDC, Mike Pence, and others. He doesn't do that. And he's shaking hands with other world leaders who get the coronavirus. He's shaking hands with Republicans who get the virus. And yet Trump continues to test negative. He has the vaccine, which means it was manufactured, sure enough. It means that these 4 horsemen plotted this assault on the world, and Trump made sure it escalated here in America, as we are now #1 with the coronavirus. Although we don't know Putin's numbers, he refuses to release them. And so, again, remember Kim Jong-un. He rides his white horse to the top of the North Korean mountains, which was a symbolic gesture to North Korea, fulfilling prophecy of North Koreans. And then says, America, I have a Christmas gift for you. What does Christmas mean? Christ, Mass, to dismiss. The Christmas Mass is the final Mass of the year. It's where they dismiss the people for the year, before the new year begins. And so what they're doing also, and they don't want to talk about it, but it means that the Catholics are dismissing Christ. they sort of say, well, it's because he died on the cross and is now in heaven. His kingdom's in heaven now. And so we dismiss him. But see how they're doing it. The four horsemen are doing it. They are replacing Christ. They are dismissing him. And so last year, Trump visits with China. He visits with North Korea. He visits with Trump, but we don't know about it because it leaked that Trump has been talking with Putin, has been communicating with the Russians. And we are not sure what happened because Trump denies people taking notes as he's destroying the documents of the conversations that are involved, and has been, the Ukraine thing. Guess what? He's been doing it to other leaders as well. And that's why he's associated himself with these bullies of the earth. And so now we get to Christmas time. Trump gets impeached by the House. Trump threatened, if I get impeached, the stock market will crash, and there will be retaliation. Not Oliver Stone. What's his name? The other Stone, Roger Stone, said that there is going to be a civil war if Trump gets impeached. Trump had the opportunity and was expected to shut down the government again, like he did in 2018 to 2019. Remember that? A world record shutdown. And so it was expected he was going to shut down the government. But then Nancy Pelosi pulls out and says, okay, you don't have to give aid to Ukraine. We won't put that in the deal. And so Trump then says, fine, I'll sign it now. He didn't shut down the government. He was impeached. It's on his record permanently. He didn't retaliate. Or didn't he? Or did he? Or didn't? And so at that same time, Kim Jong-un, I've got a Christmas gift. And then China. They had the virus already because it didn't get reported until the Chinese dentist who got the virus from his patients working on people's eyes. So it wasn't a dentist, it was an optometrist. He gets infected. He sends out a viral video whistleblowing about the virus. And now he's dead. But because of him, China was forced to reveal that yes, they had the virus. It started in the Hunyang province. Am I pronouncing that right, or am I got in the right place? And that's the place where the South Korean group had originated also. What are they doing in China? What are they doing at the hotspot for the coronavirus? As an apocalyptic group, what are they doing there? And why was China keeping it a secret and only came out and confessed that they had it on the 29th of December, but refused to allow anybody in, refused to report when it began and when it was first reported? See where we're going with this? Four horsemen of the apocalypse, guys. Judge and avenge the blood of them that dwell on the earth. So they're replacing Christ. Notice also that Putin is Russian Orthodox. He's not Roman Catholic Orthodox. He's not Eastern Orthodox. He's not Western Orthodox. He's Russian Orthodox. And even then, he's not really interested in the religion. He only goes to the Christmas Mass every year. And then he gives his end of the year speech, or is it the New Year speech? Probably does both. But guess what he's done? As Italy was escalating and getting out of control, Putin, who's refusing to reveal his own country's numbers, sends his military to escort a medical crew, claiming they're going to help Italy with the coronavirus. Putin now occupies Italy. Have you been noticing what Putin has been doing ever since Crimea? He has been positioning his army and getting Trump to position America's soldiers around Europe. Putin's invading. He's already occupied Crimea. He's now occupied Italy. He's got soldiers at the borders ready to go in. Don't be surprised if you see a strike on Ukraine, and then other strikes into other parts of Europe. And what is America going to do? We've got Trump. Trump's going to let Putin get away with it. The rest of the Europe is suffering with coronavirus. They've been weakened. This isn't the art of war. And so the Vatican has somebody tested positive, last I saw. I don't know if there's more now. But Putin saw the Pope also last year. He doesn't just meet for a friendly visit. He's Russian Orthodox. He was going for some kind of extortion deal. It appears the Pope may have turned it down. Mormons. So I do get to talk about Mormons. Not only did President Ezra Taft Benson, back in 1986, who used to be Secretary of Agriculture for the federal government, he was installed as the president of the Mormon Church back in 1986. That was the year that Master of Puppets came out, in February of that year. In April, Mormons hold their general conference. He then talked, quoting from the former Elder Packer, who's now deceased, but he was an apostle and became president of the Quorum of the 12. He gave a talk, which Benson quoted, about hard rock music, about the beat and the tone being evil and sinful, and to stay away from it. And so after Metallica comes out with their Master of Puppets album with Leper Messiah also, Benson then gets up and quotes, "Stay away from hard rock music, their beat and their tempo." I used to go to sleep to that album, or that cassette. That was my nighttime song. You can call it a bedtime story musical. The Mormon Church, they are centered here in Utah, which means top of the mountains. Kim Jong-un, White Horse, top of the mountains. The Mormon Church, I'm forgetting what I was going to bring it up for. they have Russell M. Nelson is a medical doctor. He focused on heart surgeries as he saved the life of President Spencer W. Kimball, and thus, because he saved his life, was made an apostle. And now he is the president of the church because he was chosen before Dallin H. Oaks, who was also brought in that same general conference, but because Dallin was a Supreme Court justice in the state of Utah, he had to finish out his term, and so Nelson was made an apostle first. And that's why Nelson is now the president of the church instead of Dallin H. Oaks, who was made first counselor. And yes, it's the same as criminal organization, with the boss, his consigliaries, and then the underboss is the president of the Quorum of the 12. It's the exact same structure. That's why I'm an LDS critic. Now I'm remembering, they are involved in all of this. Because, remember, Mitt Romney ran for president once, Mormon. He was speaking out against Putin. Putin blames America, and thus Romney, for interfering in the Russian election, where Putin is now the president, but blames America for interfering. And you have Marriott hotels, owned and operated by the Marriott family, Mormons, again. Marriott Jr. Was the one who went on that interview documentary where he declares that the Mormon underwear is magical. And then you have Bears Ears National Park, given up to the state of Utah for commercial development. And then you hear from the Washington Post that Utah was going to sell it to a nuclear company to mine for uranium. That was also Putin's desire, was to buy up uranium. So Trump last year destroys Iranian's nuclear arrangement, and then he destroys the deal with Russia for nuclear missiles, and then Putin then goes and tests a nuclear missile which irradiates all of Russia in that explosion that occurred. And so the church had U.S. Ambassador John Huntsman Jr., who was former governor of Utah, be the Russian ambassador for the United States, or the United States ambassador to Russia. And then last year, Putin fires him. And now he's running for governor of Utah. Apparently Putin still wants that uranium. But the church, when Nelson took over in 2018, and again, Revelation chapter 12, Monson, the former president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, dies during the sign of the stars falling from the heavens from the tail of the dragon. That's the quadrantid meteor showers. That night, the quadrantid meteor showers on the 2nd of January at 10:02 p.m., Nelson dies. Or not Nelson, Monson dies. Thomas S. Monson dies, and Nelson takes over. In that first April conference for President Nelson, he does away with the high priest organization for the Mormons. He stops the home teaching program, turns it into a ministering program, which is on a need-to-minister basis. So Mormons are no longer being checked on to see if they're doing well. And he tells Mormons, Stay off of your phones and the internet because there's going to be fake news. Stay away from the fake news media. And then he announces at the end, his final talk of the conference, he announces the temples to be built. Russia is one of those temples announced. You do not do business in Russia without being extorted, without getting dirty, to commit some kind of crime to show your loyalty as to how badly you want to do business with Russia. So in May, the following month, Fox 13 News Utah, Max Roth, reporter, reports that they have discovered that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, began creating LLC companies at the beginning of the year, right as the new tax bill that Utah Mormon Senator Orrin Hatch created, as he got in that heated debate with that Democrat, Senator Brown, was it? Where Orrin Hatch said that the tax bill was for the poor. Well, we now know that was a lie. Orrin Hatch, Mormon, lied. It was for the rich. It was for his church, the Mormon Church. That's why Monson dies, so that Nelson could start these LLC companies, from which they received $32 billion, which they then invested into the stock market, laundered the money. That tax bill allowed LLC companies to not report where they get the money from. And so then Nelson comes out in April, we've made a deal with Russia. And so now you see a bigger picture of what's going on. This isn't a natural occurrence. This was man-made by the 4 horsemen, the beast horsemen, the second red horseman, China specifically. But these other 3 are in on it, as they've been vaccinated. Because when man creates a virus, they always create a vaccine, just in case something goes wrong. But in this case, it's to ensure that the 4 horsemen survive. And that's why Trump is not getting sick. That's why Trump made America #1 with the coronavirus. That's why you have been isolated in your homes, separated from your loved ones, separated from your friends, separated from your family. As you are economically struggling, as you've been fired from your jobs, as the grocery stores are out of food. You have to hope that one of the times you go to the grocery store, they'll have toilet paper. So, this is Armageddon, guys, and it's man-made. The 4 horsemen planned it, caused it. And if you want to use the Illuminati, you remember them, don't you? It's been a while, hasn't it? Albert Pike wrote the letter to the leader of the Illuminati at the time, saying, this is how we're going to destroy the world. 3 world wars. This is the 3rd one. They used Christianity to bring about the end of the world. The Christian prophecies. And why? Because in the Third World War, Albert Pike said, "We will prove to Christians there is no Christ. We will dismiss him, and we will cause Christians to dismiss him. And then we will implement Lucifer's church." Illuminati, Scottish Rites, 33-degree Masons. Brigham Young was a 33-degree Mason of the Mormon Church, remember? Brigham Young University, Mormons, Scottish Rites. Joseph Smith originated with the York Rites. He was the one that caused the anti-Mason movement to protect America from the Scottish Rites infiltration by the Illuminati to take over our government, put a king on the throne. And so they waited after that 1826 event, lying in wait in America, allowing America to move west and develop the land, rise up with more population for a time when they would put a king on the throne using the Bible, as Albert Pike recommended. So there you go. We've all been warned about it. We all knew about it. But the powers that be told us fake news. Of course they're telling us it's fake news. Alrighty, I hope you guys are safe, because there's more to come, as you can read.